everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I just have our poser extraordinaire, Nitai.
Nice slip up.
I know, I fucked that up.
I
thought I was doing a completely different episode for a second.
Sure.
Oh, man. So tonight, since I just have Nitai with me, guess what we're doing? Nitai, we're talking about JoJo's Part 5 again.
What a surprise.
What's surprising? Di molto.
Di molto.
So this is our third JoJo's Part 5 review. This will cover episodes 14 through 21. And 21 just finished airing, or well, it was the one with finished airing last week at the time of recording this. One thing we do know is that episode 22 will be a quote-unquote special program, so I'm assuming that's going to be another recap. I don't know why, but okay.
Yeah, whatever. Take your time. Polish up those beautiful fights. I'm okay with that.
Roll that beautiful stand footage. Yeah, so let's talk about episodes 14 through 21. I guess the best place to start is right where episode 14 kind of leads off with the Beach Boy fight.
Oh, listen. Okay, so I really liked part 5 till that point. But damn, the Grateful Dead and Beach Boys fight is probably one of the best fights of this season. By far. Holy shit, that's a fight.
It is, I will say, in terms of, stand battles throughout JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, this is one is up there with the one where the characters actually have to use their head to figure out how to get in or how to get out of it, and they're not just resorting to raw strength of their stands. It's
just so good, and it feels like the stakes are real. Prosciutto and Pesci are just so brutal, and it's cool. This fight is awesome because of, all of the tricks they pull, but aside from that, it's such a good, mini arc for Pesci's character, which is also why I think it's such a great fight, because you get to see, the villains sort of, get the same screen time as the heroes, which is so good. I'm surprised we don't get as many fights as this one, in that respect,
Yeah, I it was fun to watch, honestly. And as someone who's read the manga, it was incredibly fun to read. I mean, that was a definition of a page turner while reading this manga.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I will say,
Beach Boys pulls your pages for you.
Yeah, exactly. There is, oh my god. So in the manga, at least in the one that I read, which I think is actually, I don't think it was in the original printing of the manga, but the part or the chapter where it ends with Beach Boy or Pesci, who's Beach Boy's stand user, throwing the rod into the what do you call it, the train car, the conductor's, where they drive the train, where this fucking turtle is, and the hook hooks on the bottom of the page, and that's where the to be continued is.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
It was a really cool thing. It's a fun little factoid about the manga. But yeah, this fight is just the definition of a fun fight in JoJo's. It was so fun to watch because, like you said, it felt like there were actual stakes. It felt like that. Well, I mean, if you actually watched it, it felt like Bucciolati was gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone were pushed to the limits. Fucking Prosciutto was stuck to the sides of the train and was still going with his effect of Grateful Dead. And
Mystic gets shot in the fucking head and survives.
Fucking Bruno cuts his heart in half. What the fuck?
With Zipper Daddy. I mean Zipperman. I mean Sticky Fingers. Oh man, yeah. The thing with Mystic, I do want to point out, okay, I know you can do a lot with ice, but ice can't stop a fucking bullet, Araki. For fuck's sake. I
mean, I'll give him a pass on that one, cause in the Kraftwerk fight, he fucking shot one in the skull, and it was it didn't penetrate my head, so it's fine. It's okay, sure. We've seen it before, so I'm kind of okay with this one, I guess.
I don't think Araki knows how bullets work.
Nah, probably not. I mean,
forgot.
Shit, there's flying golden spirits punching it, and bullets, and they work. It just works,
Also, this is a really interesting fight for the fact that you actually get to see Mista's Stan's Sex Pistols work with Bucciolati and not the actual user of the stand.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of another instance off the top of my head that has already been seen in JoJo's where that has happened before.
Right, and that's pretty cool to see, like, stands interact with other stand users. I mean, it's a weird dynamic, but I'm kind of okay with it because it was pretty cool. Like,
well, the way it was done I thought was really good. I can certainly see that being done in a way where it would be terrible, but
and
the way it's done in this particular fight is really, really good.
Yeah, and yeah, man, it's just such a, like, I wasn't expecting this fight to be this brutal, you know, and the payoff for it was just so, it was so satisfying. Like, the ending of the fight where it's just Bruno and Pesci, like, 1v1, and that fucking arrivederci, you know, it's so good. I'm so
glad they included that finally. The arrivederci.
But yeah,
I was wondering if they were ever going to get to it.
But yeah, now I get the La Squadra hype, why people like this group so much. This fight just elevated them.
You mentioned the brutality of the fight. Actually, if you look at the fight since the start of this arc of, you know, the assassination squad chasing after the gang,
right?
It's one of the most brutal parts in terms of how violent it is in the entire JoJo's franchise.
Yeah.
I am surprised that we haven't seen more outright censorship than we already have. I mean, there has been some, to be fair,
but not as much as like past JoJo's were censored.
No,
yeah,
and
which is interesting.
I almost wonder if David Production was like, well, should we even bother censoring this one?
Yeah. But yeah, it's so good. Like, this fight is just top JoJo. It's so good.
Yeah. And then of course at the end of the fight you get to see a hint of Trish's stand.
Yeah, so that was like okay, and then they never touch on it at least so far. Except for one instance in like episode 20, which was like, "Oh, is this her stand?" But it's like, "Oh no, never mind. That's something else entirely."
Yeah, don't pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to the man behind the screen.
But yeah, that fight was so good. Also, like, I just love the setting, like, on the moving train as well. That's just I can't gush enough about this fight.
You know what? Not to toot Cabineri's horn, but you know, I actually liked Cabineri up to a point. But this idea of having like battles on moving trains, it's a cool idea that I don't think is done enough in anime.
I mean, Bakano had some good fights on train. If you know what I mean.
Yes, but how many years ago now was Bakano?
Does it really matter? Years are just numbers.
Yeah, well, okay. Age is just a number, right? Jail is just a room.
Anyway, after that,
people no, I'm gonna bring this up because people forget that there was a part of JoJo's where Jotaro literally had a loli following him around. And he felt her up too, and no one said a word.
He's 18. It's okay. Right?
No, he's not. Well,
in part 3 is 17. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not legal.
Jotaro is not a legal lolly.
Yeah, Jotaro is not a legal lolly. Absolutely.
Anyway.
But yeah, getting back to this. So, I like the fact that the ending of the Grateful Dead and Beach Boy fight leads directly into the Babyface fight. Like there's very little breathing room between the end of the Babyface or the Grateful Dead Beach Boy fight and the Babyface fight.
Which is really cool because it reinforces the fact that they don't have a time to like take a break. They're on the run. They need to like find the boss and like deliver Trish to him. And it's like there's no time to rest. They need to get on it now.
Yeah, well, cool. And that's a running theme throughout this whole assassination squad.
This whole part, really, actually.
Yeah,
I mean, beyond the squad.
It's almost like it's a race against time, and I think that's what makes this part so good. to me at least.
Yeah, it's really exhilarating.
There's this really race against time aspect to it that you don't really see much. I mean, you could argue that part 3 was like that a little bit, but not
But that
to
was
this
more of
extent.
like the journey from like this big journey, like globetrotting adventure. Like this one, it just feels like there's not enough time, and you need to like get going. Like there's shit to do.
Feels
That's what
like
it
Liam
feels
Neeson, like, quickly, there's no time.
like. But yeah,
Liam Neeson, the stand user.
I'd watch that.
The baby phase. So, one thing
That's
that
a
you
fight.
mentioned, that's it's something. So the baby phase fight, you bring up a good point when you ask if Giorno himself is way too OP, because the idea that he's OP is on full display in this fight.
And it's
That-
like, I'm okay with what happens in this fight, because it's sort of, from time to time you get these moments that the characters are like, oh shit, I can use my power in this way, and it kind of changes everything, which like we saw it back in Jotaro versus Dio, where it's like, oh shit, I can freeze time. So I'm like, I had time to think about it, and I'm okay with this, but that still doesn't hide the fact that Gold Experience is really OP, like shit. It's really powerful.
Which is something you brought up the last time when we did our second review, that you were kind of wondering if Giorno isn't really the main character of this part. So I have a theory about this. I think that in the very beginning, when Araki started writing this part, he created Giorno thinking that, he was just going to be like a brand new Jotaro. How like Jotaro's stand Star Platinum is really overpowered if you think about it. But then I think when he was conceptualizing the stand, he made it way more powerful than it needed to be. So he had to constantly write ways to get Giorno out of fights.
True.
And if you think about it, in the fights that we've seen thus far, how many has Giorno really been a part of?
The cool
Maybe
thing about
2?
Giorno, though, is that he's been more of an assisting tool lately, right? Like with the, what's it called? The thing he gives Bruno before he meets the boss. Like his little brooch thing.
The ladybug brooch?
The ladybug brooch, right. So it's like, he's still doing stuff, but that's like more of assisting, right?
It's more of behind the scenes kind of stuff. It's not
Yeah.
actually fighting.
Although the babyface fight was fun, I'm gonna lie.
Well, yeah, it was. I think the Babyface fight is fun because of Babyface's stand user being
The
kind of
monitor.
incompetent. Being kind of an incompetent buffoon. And just he hams it up. He's the William Shatner of JoJo's, because he's just, everything he does is so hammy, like Timolto. Ah!
Fucking just orgasm was like, I made a baby out of nothing. Ah! Like, this is so dumb, and I'm okay with that. Cause what the fuck is even Babyface? It's so strange.
Yeah, people make the joke about King Crimson. How does it fucking work? How about Babyface? How the fuck does it work?
Believe me, King Crimson makes a whole lot more sense than Babyface. But that was just like a strange fight, which was cool and all, but the fight after that was something else.
Well, before we move on to the, I do want to make one point about the Babyface fight, that this fight actually kind of shows how intelligent Giorno actually is, because even though his stand is completely OP for this enemy that he's going up against, he actually did have to think really long and hard about how to beat Babyface without, giving away what he was doing.
Yeah. Because Babyface,
which is kind of what
gave him
Babyface does.
Yeah.
He can kind of read people's moves before they happen.
Yeah, that fight was really cool and just like creative all around, because I have no idea how Rocky comes up with all these stand abilities, but shit.
Drugs.
It's cool. Probably a lot of weed. But yeah, it was refreshing seeing Jordan like fight just him alone against another opponent.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Because
Which
it's
is
been a while
amazing
since we
to
saw
me
that.
that no one, like the other members of Passione weren't that far away. So how do they not hear this going on?
I love that part when it's like JoJo is like signaling towards him, and Naruto's like, "Oh, he's waving at us. That's
He's
cool."
waving at us. Yes.
Oh, Naruto.
He's like, he's waving. Everything must be okay. God, Naruto's so lovably dumb.
Oh, he's such a dumbass. It's Okuyasu all over again.
But everyone loves Okuyasu.
True. I love Naruto. I didn't say anything bad about him.
So moving on from the babyface fight to one of the most, oh my god, WTF Rafflecopter fucking fights of this part, the White Album fight. Or what was
White Album.
What was
Gently weeps.
White Ice. White Ice was the local
White Ice. Yes. Sorry about that. This fight is so good. Like,
yes.
Damn.
Like, because, oh no, this fight is good because it starts off in a really confined space in the cabin of a car. And then it moves on to walking on fucking water. And then it moves on to, well, let's just stand in front of this fucking Roman statue.
That fight was so good. And just like you mentioned, like the movement from one location to the other, it's so brilliant. Like, and it's done so seamlessly. It's like, oh shit, they're flying off a bridge, and then Jordan's like, oh, okay, I'll make these vines so he can slide off and go over to that statue, and then White Album just chasing them. It's so well done. Oh.
And then Mista goes on a snowboard.
Yeah.
He makes a snowboard out of grass.
The amount of time Mista just manages to hurt himself in this part, it's so.
Oh, I know. He's like the whipping boy.
Meme.
He really is. One thing, the White Album fight really, really reminds me of the Red Hot Chili Pepper fight from Part 4. How it starts out in this really open field out in like the outskirts of Morio, and then it ends up, the ending of that fight is at like a dock in a really confined space around a dock in Morio. And it was just really interesting to see how the stand adapts to fighting, long distance versus up close. Mm-hmm. And in this instance, you went from up close to long distance.
Yeah, it's cool, like the movement again, just the transitions between like different, like let's say, ways of fighting. It's really cool.
Yeah, and fucking man, there's some good monologues in that fight too. Jesus.
Yeah,
that monologue
are the best.
The monologue that Mista gives at the end, it's pretty fucking good.
I mean, the whatever thing Jordan was given at the end was pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Oh, so we cannot move on until we talk about the suck.
The only reason freaking you is the ED.
Exactly. Now this is the part where this ED comes in handy. You so
David Pro, you tricky bastards.
Maybe that's why they use it. I don't know. But no, just you see Naranja's reaction to this. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It literally looks like Giorno sucking Mista's dick. And his reaction to it is so hysterically funny. It's like, I don't see anything. There's a bug in my eye. I don't know what's going on.
What a way to end just a brutal fight.
I know, right?
Blowjob joke.
But yes.
Bless you, Rocky. Sick bastard.
And they used the fucking the reaction face from the manga. I could not have been happier with that. Narancia has the best reaction faces. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man.
This part is so good, man. I can't. This show is so good.
So many memes, man. The White Album fight, I think, is definitely... it's definitely one of the best fights in all of JoJo's, I think. I think it's definitely in a top 10 list for me.
We've been getting a ton of good fights in this part, which is, like...
Which is another reason I call this my favorite part of the manga.
So, like, the trend, like, whatever, I've been saying this a lot lately to friends of mine, but I don't know if this is my favorite, but this is, like, easily the best season of JoJo so far.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's so good.
Yeah. All right, now, one of the final things we definitely want to talk about is King Crimson's reveal.
The main course for tonight's dinner.
Yes. So, as I said when we first started this review, that eventually King Crimson was going to be revealed, and I was really scared that then it would go into, I'm fucking horny, But I'm so glad for the 2 episodes that he actually appears, they don't use the ED, because it would have been such a jarring transition.
I would have been okay with it.
No, it would have been too jarring of a transition.
Listen, I know you had your concerns, but holy shit, did King Budget came in and just wrecked some shop.
I did not expect that level of animation quality for showing how the stand works, but I'm glad we got it.
Dead. We know how it works. It actually makes sense.
I've always suspected, since I read the manga, I have always suspected that it would make more sense if you saw it in motion than just seeing it on a page on a static image.
So what did it look like when, like, in manga form? I'm
not very good.
To know.
I don't think I can actually describe it really, like, with words. I think it's just something that has to be seen. Like,
okay.
It just, the visuals don't make sense to what's being said.
Okay, did the visuals in the episode make sense to you?
Yes.
Because now it's very easy to sort of like say what
made more sense than the manga.
It's like it's pretty easy to grasp like what the fuck is going on. It's like, okay, he can like there's like this 10-second period where only King Crimson and the boss to that extent can interpret whatever the fuck is going around like at that time, and to the rest of the world they don't. That's it.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
The meme is dead finally.
I think there's also this unspoken like assumption that anything that King Crimson is also touching will experience the missing time.
Yeah. No, but even stuff that he didn't, because in episode 21, you see the guys on the boat and they're like talking shit and stuff, and then Giorno like steps into the island and Bakio is like right behind him, but then the effect of King Crimson takes place and bam, it's like they skip a few steps forward. So it's like, I don't know, I think it's like the rest of the world kind of experienced that effect, I think.
Also, Giorno does an epic title drop. Something's bizarre.
It only took 5 seasons, boys. We got it. What did you? Man. You read the manga, obviously. So, what did you think of the reveal? How was it handled?
I thought they handled it the best way possible. I couldn't have imagined it actually being adapted better than they did it. I'm very happy with the way it was revealed. I'm also... So, I have to ask, what do you think actually happened to Bucciolati?
Like, I mean... Okay. At first, let's back up a bit. When they hit the elevator, right? Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to, like, Bruno is only seeing, like, the hand of Trish. I was like, is that her stand? And then it's like, no, it's the boss. And it's like, okay, sure. Okay, whatever. But then... this has to be Trish's stand, right? I mean, I don't need an answer, obviously, but what the fuck else is it going to be? It's like, what? I guess he has, like, a scar, but it doesn't bleed. It's like, okay, what's going on? I will say, I was super surprised that Bruno actually survived this fight.
But did he? Because there's a lot of anime-only watchers of JoJo's who are like, is he a fucking zombie or something now?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's like, I need so next episode.
To watch. It's so fun to watch anime-only watchers' reactions.
Yeah, because it's like, what the fuck is going on? It's... Like, in the first time they revealed King Crimson, I was like, wait, what? Okay. And I rewatched that last scene a few times. I still couldn't figure out how I was feeling about it. And then the episode 21 came around and I was like, okay, this fight is fucking awesome, which it is. But I don't know what's going on. It's like, where are we headed from here? Which is great. That's what I wanted this show to be, like, this season.
Well, it's what we know is that, or at least at this point, is that Fugo was the only one that didn't join them on the boat when they left.
So I guess this is the end for Fugo? I mean, I honestly want him to be back, but not gonna hold my breath.
I'm not saying anything. Good.
I'm just thinking out loud. I don't need any answers. I do need them, but we have an entire week. Fuck.
That's true. Yeah, the next episode 22, is actually going to be, like I said before, a special episode. So I'm assuming they haven't said. I haven't read anything yet, but I'm assuming it's just going to be a recap episode. So we gotta wait 2 weeks to find out. Well, let me rephrase that. You have to wait 2 weeks to find out. I already know.
I wonder. I was surprised that they didn't reveal the boss.
Because he's always in the
face.
background in silhouette,
which is cool. But I was like, wow, who is he? I need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that they still keep him a secret, but it's like, okay. It's like this. And, like, I'm trying to think of who else is going to enter the picture now. We still have one remaining squad member from the Squadra, but I'm guessing that's, like, there's a whole lot more Stan users to see. I mean, we still got, like, 18 episodes left.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fights.
Yeah. I'm still curious as to how long they're going to make the final fight, because I'm thinking it's going to be at least 4 episodes.
4 episodes.
I'm thinking that's what it's
Makes sense. I mean, Dio and Kira also were like sort of 4 to 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm A-okay with that.
The Dio fight in part 3. I look back on that and I'm thinking, God, this kind of goes on for a while.
Oh, but it's so good. I actually watched bits of it lately, and it got me thinking about like the final fights of each part. And it's crazy to see how, at least with actually all of them, how different they are, even parts 1 and 2 included.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how part 5 goes.
I know that you've actually, I don't think you've actually sat and watched the whole thing, but I know you've seen bits and pieces of it. What is your opinion on the part 3 English dub? Because I actually think it's really good.
So I don't know how I feel about it as a whole, but for what I've seen, I will say Dio's dub is great.
Yeah, Dio's voice actor is really good.
Yeah. Jotaro is okay, but then I watched more clips of the part 4 dub, and Jotaro's there as well, obviously, and he sounds much more natural in part 4 than part 3 for some reason. I can't put my finger on why, but he sounds more natural.
So I haven't seen any of the part 4 dub yet. I'll have to get around to doing that.
You should. The Kira dub is pretty good, actually.
I do think, though, however, especially like you mentioned, Dio's English voice is done really, really well.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with part 5. I just wanted to put that out there.
Maybe a rewatch, but for the dub will happen in the future. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. All right, so to end this, I don't think it's going to happen in episode 22 because I think it's going to be a recap episode. But the following episode, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a new OP.
Yeah, it has to be. Like the name of the song is Requiem for Traitors or Traitors Requiem or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, considering the end of episode 21 where everyone just leaves and they're like, okay, we need to run, makes sense. It's time for a new OP, which I'll miss Fighting Gold, but I'm okay with the new OP. I need to see it. I'm excited.
And I'm assuming that since Fighting Gold went on for this long, this new OP is going to be the only other OP we're going to get for this part, which kind of makes sense, almost half and half. For the length of how many episodes each OP lasts. I am really looking forward because they're gonna do. David Productions is gonna do it. I'm really looking forward to how they fuck with the OP for the final fight.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the visuals for this OP because if this OP does go all the way to the end, it's also most likely gonna get a version with sound effects. So I'm hoping there's lots of visuals that have sound effects added to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm surprised that it's been this long that we've had Fighting Gold, even though I think, like you, that Fighting Gold is a really good OP. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to hearing the song and seeing the new visuals for it.
Yeah, it'll be a good time, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the song as well, because the guy who sings it is one of the duos who sang Great Days, which is the best OP, bar none.
I'm beginning to think, so maybe they realize that they should just keep calling people back to do these songs, because if they had this thing, because they have the tradition of at the end they do a thing where they all get together, all the singers get together and sing the OP.
Right.
Maybe they realize that if we keep doing this, we're gonna have a fucking choir by the time we get to part 8.
The only thing that matters to me is that by the time we hit part 6, they bring in what was the name? I think it was Shoko Nakagawa, who's like she sang the OP to Gurren Lagann, because she's a huge JoJo's fan and she's a big fan of Jotaro as well, and I just need her to sing the OP to part 6, and then I'm like, okay, that's the group, we're good.
I would be surprised if when I'm assuming that we're gonna get a part 6 anime adaptation, I'd be very surprised if when we got to that part we didn't have at least a female vocalist.
Yeah, it's prime time.
Yeah.
This show is so good, dude. I love it.
I'm very happy that you're loving it as much as I love the manga. So yeah, that was our review and reminiscence of JoJo's Part 5, episodes 14 through 21. Thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it, because we always enjoy bringing this stuff to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. If you want to keep up with what we're doing and have a little more fun, you can join our Discord server, become a member of our Facebook group, follow our Twitch channel, and visit our website. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or concerns on this or any episode, feel free to shoot us an email. Links to all of these things will be down below in the description. I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, Natai.
Fighting gold for one last time.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll
But you know,
miss you, Coda.
I do wonder one thing about this new OP. Will it be vocal percussion on a whole nother level?
Coming
From my mind.